My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC 279 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and DraftKings plays. But before I jump in, we have a DraftKings optimizer available to all of our premium members. All you need to do is you log in. Then there will be an optimizer pre-populated on Fridays with ownership projections, points earned projections, and all the data you need. And all you have to do is click a few buttons and it will build a lineup for you. It'll build 150 lineups for you. That's what an optimizer does. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It is $10 a month. That is only $2.50 a week. It includes the DraftKings optimizer. It includes ownership projections. It includes player rankings. It includes every single one of our bets. It includes all of our raw notes, all of our picks, and everything else you could ever need to make money and have more fun watching fights. $2.50 a week. WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click Become a Member. Even if you think I'm a moron and don't know what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter, because you're going to get the optimizer with the ownership projections and the projected points scored. Mute me. I don't give a shit. Go in there, use the tools, build a winning lineup, make some money. WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click Become a Member. So let's go ahead and break down the entire fight card. We're going to start with the first fight. We got 13 fights. This is the first time in a while that we've got more than 11 or 12. And opening up the card, we got Darian Weeks versus Johan Lionisi. I think Darian Weeks wins this fight. He's looking for his first UFC win. The reason I think he wins is his takedown defense is spectacular. He's got solid striking. He's got solid takedowns. And if you look at these matchups, Barberena, that's a super, super tricky fight. Ian Gary, super, super tricky fight. And he's finally going to be able to fight somebody where he can use his wrestling and use his grappling. And he's fighting Johan Lioness. Johan Lioness is a grappler. He's got bombs for hands, but he's slow. And his takedowns, while they're good, his takedowns are not going to be better than Darian Weeks' takedown defense. So I like Darian Weeks to win this fight. And I forget what the statistic was, but the vast majority of the time, this $8,000, $8,200 spot, the winner of that fight usually ends up in an optimal lineup. So you can pick your side. Johan will certainly be live for a TKO because he has freaking bricks for hands. But I like Darian Weeks to get this done. And, he is at an affordable price and could be in my lineup. We've got UFC debut Melissa Martinez, so there's no data here, but she is fighting Elise Reed. And Elise Reed is interesting because she's hot and cold. She is a talented fighter. She can strike. She can dance around, strike. She has good, solid technical striking, but no power. But the reason I say she's hot and cold, so Sijara Eubanks absolutely destroyed her. But that was a grappling loss at a weight class that wasn't hers on short notice. But then she came out and beat Corey McKenna in the underdog spot, $7,400. She scored 70 points, but she danced around, landed those strikes, and did what she was supposed to do. And then Hughes just absolutely beat the brakes off of her, Sam Hughes. So that one was a little tricky, especially because that went into the third round, and it was somewhat competitive, but as soon as Sam Hughes got on top, Elise Reed was just like, I'm done here. And that's what concerns you about Elise Reed, right? Is that, I don't want to say she's got some quit in her, but, you can take her down, you can beat her up. But that's also what's tricky. All of Elise Reed's losses are grappling based. Every single loss on her record, she was taken down and lost there. This will be a striking match. Melissa Martinez is a very good striker. She's got legitimate power at this weight class. So we're really going to find out how good Elise Reed's striking is because she's fighting another striker. So listen, I think Melissa Martinez wins this fight. With that being said, I don't necessarily think she's worth the money because she's a UFC debut, and Elise Reed certainly can dance around, touch and go, and win a 70-point decision like she did against Corey McKenna. So I'm probably not going to touch this fight. I do think Melissa Martinez wins, but frankly, Elise Reed, does have a clear path with the technical striking. Then we've got my first favorite underdog on the card. We got Chad Anhelager, and I butcher these names. I'm sorry, guys. He's taking on Haley Alatang. Chad Anhelager, or Anhelager, whatever it is. He's a real prospect. His fighting style is he's got power in his strikes, and if it gets to the ground, he's got good jiu-jitsu, or he could bomb away on top. And that is, what happened in his last fight. Cracked straighter, pounced on top, TKO'd him. And Chad's a legit threat, especially in this underdog fight. And he is fighting Haley Alatang. And Haley Alatang is a very, very talented fighter. The issue with him, though, is that he'll wait. He'll just wait. He'll take his time. He'll wait. But that is not what happened against Kevin Kroom. He came forward, blasted this dude, put him away, and put up, real numbers because he got all sorts of bonuses, including the quick win bonus. But he also can be hot and cold. He is a technical striker. He can work in grappling when he needs to. And that's the core to this fight. I think Chad has the power, and I think he can win the striking exchanges. Haley has the grappling and can get the takedowns. Chad has been taken down 9 times in 2 fights in the UFC. 9. That's ridiculous. That's a lot. That's a lot. Especially considering that, his last fight didn't even go the distance. He was still taken down. And that's what makes this tricky, because Haley Alatang can take down Chad, can hold him down the exact same way he beat Dana, who's also a powerful striker. But the difference between Dana and Chad is Chad doesn't care if you take him down. He works back up. He doesn't get frustrated, and he works for those finishes. He's been taken down 9 times, and he's got 2 wins. And that's why I like Chad. The takedowns don't bother him. He doesn't get frustrated. He continues his power. He stays on his feet. He works forward. He works hard. And I think Chad gets it done. I like him in the underdog spot here. I fully recognize how talented Haley Alatang is, but I do like Chad. This is a perfect fight to check out in the optimizer. So premium members, it's only $10 a month. Premium members at WeWantPicks.com have access to our DraftKings optimizer. In there are projected ownership and projected points scored. And these are very complicated formulas, and a lot of effort goes into trying to figure out what those projected points will be. Take a look. Take a look in there once that's dropped later on Fridays, and see if Haley is worth the 8,400 or if Chad is worth, his price point, because that is really where that data becomes incredibly important. We'll talk about who we think wins and why they win, but there are data scientists out there pulling ridiculous stats, building it, putting that together, and putting out these projections, and it's important to factor that stuff in as well. So premium members, WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. If you're not, it is just $10 a month. You have one decent lineup in a month, and it pays for many, many months of premium membership. Then we have Norma Dumont. She's taking on Danielle Wolfe. Danielle Wolfe making her official UFC debut. She's got that win on the Contender Series. Norma Dumont is a striker. She's a striker first. But obviously she can grapple, right? She took down Aspen. She took down Spencer. Ashley Evans-Smith, she took her down 2 times. Megan Anderson lost, but took her down once. And that's the problem with this fight, because while she is a striker, she will not be the better striker in this matchup. She's fighting Danielle Wolfe. I'll click on her, but there's not going to be any data here. She's fighting Danielle Wolfe. Danielle Wolfe is a former boxer, a very high-level boxer with multiple national championships. She should have been an Olympian. They just didn't add her weight class to the Olympics. And strike for strike, Danielle's going to be the better striker. Period. End of story. But Norma Dumont can work in takedowns. And we just don't know what Danielle Wolfe's takedown defense is going to be. We haven't seen it yet. Like a half-assed takedown attempt is nothing. So we haven't seen what she's going to look like in a real fight that gets to the ground. Norma is good, very smart. She's going to come in here. She's going to take down Danielle and probably get a stoppage, honestly. So Norma Dumont may be worth the $9,200. The only reason I'm probably not going to touch it is because every fight starts on his feet, and, Danielle Wolfe is a very, very high-level boxer and could genuinely make something work. So I'm not going to throw Norma in my lineup, but listen, she should be in some of your lineups. Any of you multi-entry people, she should be, because the reality is she can get a takedown and a submission or a takedown and a TKO inside of a few minutes. So very clear path for Norma, clear path for Danielle as well, if she can keep it on her feet. We just don't know yet. We haven't seen enough. That's the only reason I'm not throwing Norma in my lineup, because for all we know, Danielle's got phenomenal takedown defense. And that takes us to Jake Collier, and he's taking on Chris Barnett. Jake Collier is a volume striker, right? He started his career as a middleweight, very talented, well-rounded guy. He's put on a few pounds. left off a few miles in his jogs, and now he's a heavyweight. Looks sloppy, but you put looks aside, the dude's talented. He's got legit high-level striking. High level, maybe that's extreme, but high-volume striking. He puts it out there. He comes forward. He's got a chin on him. And the reality is this Carlos Felipe fight, razor thin fight. That could have gone his way. Andrei Arlovski, he straight up beat the dude. He beat Andrei Arlovski. That was just a bad decision. And what's really impressive is his last couple of fights, took down Chase Sherman, submitted him. He took down Andrei Arlovski twice. Andrei Arlovski is a legend with very good takedown defense. Jay Collier took him down twice. Jay Collier is very good. $9,100, probably worth it because he's fighting Chris Barnett. And when I broke down this fight earlier in the quick picks video and in the full breakdown video, I mentioned Chris Barnett's going to be the more talented guy. And he is. He's got ridiculous power in his hands. He's incredibly fast for his size. And he's versatile. Wild spinning kicks. He's doing backflips after his wins. This guy is athletic as hell with very real power. The problem is he's all hammer, no nail. Ben Rothwell, listen, that Chris Barnett stepped on much short notice. Ben Rothwell has beaten everybody, and he's a monster. So let's put that one aside. Chris Barnett beat Jean Vellante, but he actually didn't look amazing up until that spectacular knockout. But Martin Bidet worked Chris Barnett start to finish. Chris Barnett tried to take an easy way out, with an illegal strike. He tried to pull an Aljo. It didn't work because they were too far into the fight, and the ref said it was an accident, so it goes to the scorecards instead of a loss or a no contest. So I think Chris Barnett loses this fight. I think it's actually better for the division if he wins. He's an exciting guy. And if I knew for a fact Chris Barnett would move forward and throw and push the pressure on Jake Collier, I'd pick Chris. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jake's going to stay in his face. Chris is going to get frustrated, potentially break. So Jake Collier is going to win this fight. Probably worth the $9,100 if we see Chris break. Then we have Tulian, and he is taking on Jamie Pickett. This fight has been rebooked. This is supposed to be at UFC Vegas 58 in July. Dennis Tulian is Jacob's lock of the week this week. Jacob has won 9 lock of weeks in a row. If you don't know what the lock of the week is, it is an underdog. He picks an underdog every single week. 1. And he's got it 9 in a row. This dude is picking underdogs at 69%. The rest of you aren't even picking fights at 69%, let alone underdogs only. So there is something to be said about that. And if you're on that Jacob train, then throw Tulian in your lineup. He is an underdog. He's only $7,900. He's a come-forward fighter. He's always looking for a finish. The problem is he can get into a slugfest, and the reality is he probably wants to be there. He probably wants a chaotic fight, but there are holes in his grappling. He's got power in his hands, but if you take him down, you can work from there. He's fighting Jamie Pickett. I think Jamie Pickett wins. So Jacob and I are split on this, but frankly, Jacob's been doing really well lately, and his lock of the week has been smashing. So while I disagree with it, I got to respect it. But, Jamie Pickett is a solid striker. He's very long. He can manage range well. And if you look at the stats, he does get hit more than he hits his opponents, which is concerning. But it's because he's gun shy. So he'll get hit a few times and then he'll throw. When he throws, it's solid. It connects. It's there. And that's the issue with Jamie Pickett. If I knew Jamie would come forward, if I knew Jamie would push the pace, he'd be a very easy throw him in my lineup for sure. But you just don't know what you're going to get. He is a little bit gun shy. I do think he wins, and the reason I think he wins is I think there's a good gap on the ground. Jamie Pickett has 8 takedowns in the UFC. 8. And I think that's going to matter here. I think he's going to be able to take Dennis down and then work from there. He took down Holmes. He took down Staropoli. He took down Nchukwu. And these are 3 solid strikers. He took them down. Obviously, Nchukwu beat him, but he still took down Holmes, Staropoli, and he was still able to take down Kennedy Nchukwu. So I think Jamie Pickett wins, and I think he's a good price point if he wins, obviously. But, again, I don't know how comfortable I am going against the lock of the week at this point. It's going to lose eventually. He's not going to go forever, but I'm not going to disparage that streak of his. And then we've got Julian Erosa taking on Hakeem Dawadu. Julian Erosa, Juicy J, $7,300. The dude's a dog. He's a straight up dog. He comes forward. He's very violent. Tons of finishes. Every single thing he throws is with a 100% intent on finishing the fight. But I'm going to break this breakdown down. I'm going to break this breakdown down. How many times did I repeat that? I'm going to base this breakdown on these guys' last fights. Julian Erosa beat Steve Peterson, but it was a split decision. He was outstruck. Steve Peterson's not a very good striker. He was outstruck, and the only reason Julian Erosa won is because... hit the wrong button. The only reason Julian Erosa won is because of these takedowns. He got a couple of last well-timed takedowns, and that's what did it for him. And he scored a ton of points, 112 points. It was a dogfight, and that's what Julian Erosa does. But if we look at Hakeem Dawodu's last fight, he outstruck Mike Trizano. And Mike Trizano's a very good technical striker. And Hakeem did a great job in that fight. Julian Erosa relies on his chin, and he relies on it way too much. Hakeem, while he doesn't have a million knockouts in the UFC, he hits hard, he hits fast, and he's not headhunting. He's just staying technical, working it, and if knockout's there, great, and if it's not, he doesn't care. He's going to stay technical, stay in your face. He only lost this Evloev fight because of the grappling. I think Hakeem gets this done. I think it's a pretty straightforward win for Hakeem. I know Julian is a dog. Julian's not going to stop coming forward, but we have seen his chin start to react. Just like with Tai Tuivasa and Cyril Gane. Eventually that chin's going to give out. We saw some cracks when he fought Black Beast. We saw some cracks when Greg Hardy blasted him, and then Cyril Gane pushed it over the edge. Same thing with Julian Erosa. Saw some cracks in that Steve Peterson fight. Hakeem might be able to put it over the edge. If not, it's going to be a striking match. Hakeem's the much, much, much more technical striker, faster, hits harder. I like Hakeem Dawadu in this matchup, and I'll potentially have him in my lineup. Then we have Jailton Almeida, who's an absolute beast. He's taking on a short notice Anton Terkalge. Jailton Almeida, 2 incredibly dominant wins. 2. He beat my buddy Parker Porter, and I was surprised. Because Parker Porter is a pretty big heavyweight with gigantic thighs, a low center of gravity, and he can grapple, he can wrestle. And Jailton Almeida was still able to take him down. He almost made it look easy. And Jailton Almeida is a 205-pounder who went up to heavyweight and had no problems taking down a heavyweight as big, low center of gravity, and strong as Parker Porter. And that was genuinely impressive. So Jailton Almeida is the real deal. $9,500. Spend the money. He should be in your lineup. He is fighting Anton Terkalge. Official UFC debut. Stepping up on short notice. Anton is a really fun striker. A very fun striker. He can grapple as well. He's not only a striker, but he is a fun striker. He does have some, pretty impressive risk-taking style, right? He'll spin, he'll jump, he'll charge forward. He really mixes up his striking. And if he comes straight at, Jailton Almeida, he might find some success, but I imagine Jailton's just going to drop, shoot, and go from there. But Anton can grapple as well. He had 11 takedowns, 11, 2 ones next to each other, takedowns in his Dana White Contender Series fight. So he can grapple as well, and that probably should be his game plan. Immediately shoot. Just immediately shoot. Because if you let Jailton shoot, he's proven to be so ridiculously strong, fast, and powerful that you're going to have a hard time defending that takedown. If you shoot first, maybe you can get on those hips. It's always easier to finish a takedown than it is to defend one. So I like Jailton Almeida to absolutely murder Anton Terkalge. He will be in my lineup. There's not many short things on this card, but that's probably one of them. And then we have, where are we? Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker opening up the main card. He is taking on Jan Cutelaba. Listen, Johnny Walker at one point in time was phenomenal. Very good striker. Very dynamic striker. Solid grappling. Solid takedown defense. Good power. Decent chin. And then he started to go train at SBG Ireland. And all of a sudden, he's like slowing down, not throwing enough strikes. Lost the staring contest to Thiago Santos. Jamal Hill absolutely flatlined him. And you just don't know what you're going to get. If we're going to get the Johnny Walker that worked his way up to a title fight, I'll take that Johnny Walker. That Johnny Walker win. Oh, not a title fight, but, had those solid wins in a row. And yes, he lost to Corey Anderson. But then Nikita Krylov lost. He beat Ryan Spann, which was a very solid win, and then downhill again. But if we get this Johnny Walker, even with the Corey Anderson loss, right? He got clipped. But if we get this Johnny Walker here, the 2019 Johnny Walker, he beats Jan Cutelaba, because Cutelaba is a straight-up grappler who has power in his hands, but he has his own chin issues. The dude can be put out. So if Johnny Walker came forward, put on a pace, and just started blasting away, he could put out Cutelaba, no problem. The problem is Johnny Walker, we just don't know what he is lately. He has not been letting his hands go. He has not been that wild, versatile striker that made him a prospect. And that's essentially what this fight is, two busted prospects. But I got to go with Jan Cutelaba here because the grappling is a clear path. Because we've seen Johnny Walker get taken down and, multiple times. And if Jan Cutelaba isn't worried about the volume in the striking, he can throw those big power bombs, then work in takedowns instead of just diving at the legs desperately because he's afraid of Johnny Walker. He doesn't need to be afraid of Johnny lately because Johnny hasn't been very high volume. I think Cutelaba wins this fight. He's probably worth $8,600. He might be some of the best value on the card because in all likelihood, he'll get a stoppage here. But if Johnny Walker shows up looking like 2019 Johnny Walker, he blows through Cutelaba. Johnny Walker's the more talented fighter, but SBG Ireland they're a fun sponge, but with talent. Sucked it right out of him, threw it in a drain. Then we got Macy Chiasson taking on Irene Aldana. You guys don't like my pick here, but I like Macy Chiasson here, and this is why. The 6 takedowns against Norma Dumont. 6 takedowns against Norma Dumont. So Macy Chiasson, super long, super rangy. We knew that she could strike and stay on the outside and pick people apart, and now we know she can take people down often and have success there. And I think that's what this fight is. Irene Aldana hits real hard, is a good striker, does have pretty good takedown defense. But honestly, if she doesn't knock out Macy, she's not going to win a technical striking fight because Macy's so long she can stay on the outside. She's not going to shoot her own takedowns against Macy. Macy's going to be the one that can shoot the takedown. So Irene does have a clear path to victory, and that is with the power in her hands. But I think Macy gets it done. I think she can stay on the... Macy has 2 ways to win. Stay on the outside, technical strike, work takedowns, and go from there. Irene has 1 way to win. Defend takedowns, bomb away. Work on the inside, bomb away. And she can win that way. She's done it before. She smoked Vieira, smoked Kunitskaya. She could absolutely do the same here, but I like the fact that Macy Chiasson has those 6 takedowns in that last fight. And even, yes, she got submitted by Rocky Pennington, but she got the takedown there, and was submitted by one of the best women in the division. So anyway, I think Macy Chiasson gets it done. You need underdogs in your lineup, and I think she's one of the better underdog picks. Then we have Daniel Rodriguez taking on, Jesus Christ, what is going on with my head today? Kevin Holland. Daniel Rodriguez had Kevin Holland. And what's nice about this fight is Kevin Holland has been fighting guys who want to take him down because his striking is so good. That's not going to be what this fight is because Daniel Rodriguez is a phenomenal boxer. He's not really throwing a ton of kicks and stuff, but he's a very, very good boxer. He works angles well. He works inside the pocket well. He's a very good striker. And he's going to strike with Kevin Holland. And we're going to find out how good Kevin Holland's striking actually is because normally we're getting people that just want to take him down because it's so easy to take him down. Kevin Holland has real power and laser pinpoint accuracy on his strikes. Just absolute pinpoint accuracy. And that's probably going to be the problem here for Daniel Rodriguez. Kevin's going to be longer. Kevin's going to be able to touch him, and just everything he throws should land because he's just so accurate. So I like Kevin Holland to win. I don't think he'll necessarily be the more technical striker, but I think he's going to hit harder, be the more accurate striker. And Kevin Holland can grapple. He can't wrestle for shit, but he can grapple. Once it hits the ground, Kevin Holland can submit you. He's proven that over and over. And frankly, I got to go with the more well-rounded fighter who is Kevin Holland. I think he hits harder. There's a wide skill gap on the ground. Daniel Rodriguez is absolutely live because he's such a technical boxer, but I got to go with Kevin Holland here, $8,700. Might be worth it, especially because Daniel Rodriguez, the reason this is at a catch weight of 180 pounds is because Daniel Rodriguez is coming off a pretty serious injury, and he's not, I don't want to say he's not 100% because I don't know that, but essentially his team was like, can we do it at 180 because we don't want to cut all the way down to 170 because of the injury. I mean, that tells me he's not 100%. So got to go Kevin Holland there. Then we got co-main event, Tony Ferguson versus Jing Lang. Listen, Tony Ferguson, you guys, is a legend. And let's just hit that win streak. 12-fight win streak here. Knockout submissions throughout the entire thing. Just an absolute killer. And then Justin Gaethje took something from him. Just took his soul out of his body. And yes, decision to Oliveira, decision to Dariush. But this Michael Chandler loss, which was only in May, was one of the worst knockouts we have ever seen in the sport. It might end up being the worst knockout we've ever seen in the sport. And this is too fast of a turnaround. Just 3 months later, that's just way too fast of a turnaround. And he's fighting Jin Lang. Listen, Tony Ferguson's the overall better fighter here. Just skill for skill. Tony Ferguson can wrestle. He wrestled in college. We've seen him not one punch knock people out, but he's got very good striking. He's got very good grappling. The problem is he's always been a bit of a head case. Now he's like coming back way too soon after that knockout. Jing Lang just has very real, incredible power. Knocked out Zaleski, knocked out Salikov, knocked out Ponzinibbio. Yes, Chimaev smoked him, but that's what Chimaev does. And Neil Magny decisioned him, but that's what Neil Magny does. You know, I think Jing Lang gets it done. I think he ends up being worth the 900 because I think he'll get a stoppage. And unfortunately, at a certain point, the sport is too much for you. And Tony Ferguson has taken too much damage. He's been into too many wars. That poor guy, his wife said he's going crazy. I think Jing Lang gets this done. $9,000, probably worth it. But let's not forget, Tony Ferguson won that first round against Michael Chandler. He won the first round. All 3 judges gave Tony Ferguson the first round before he was kicked in the face. Then we got Chimaev, Nate Diaz. Put Chimaev in your lineup. You're stupid if you don't. That's the end of that breakdown. But, you know, it's a fun fight. I'm looking forward to it. Nate Diaz could certainly just come forward, strike, and maybe Chimaev gets tired and Nate doesn't. But, guys, have you seen Nate this week? A, straight up soft. Straight up soft. No six-pack, soft. The worst physically we've ever seen him. B, he literally has said, let him beat me. I don't care. Let him beat me. Nate Diaz is just looking forward to becoming a free agent and just trying to cash in on some big fights and other promotions. Khamzat Chimaev showed that he is a human being in this Gilbert Burns fight. He actually landed fewer strikes than Gilbert did. He got tired, which nobody expected would happen from him. This is a 5-round fight. Historically, Nate Diaz never, ever gets tired. So is it the craziest thing in the world if Nate Diaz wins? No. There's a path. Volume striking, stay busy, stay in shape, threaten on the ground. But Chimaev's going to do whatever he wants to do. Chimaev's going to win. He should be in your lineup, $9,600. The 2 people, your 2 core plays, Chimaev, Charlton Almeida. Work your lineup from there. Those 2 need to be in it. And check out the Optimizer, guys. The Optimizer will give you projected points earned, projected ownership, so you can build a lineup that really separates yourself from everybody else. WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. It's freaking $10 a month. Not only do you get the Optimizer, not only do you get all the projections, all the rankings, you also get every single one of our bets, every single one of our picks, and everything else. It is only $10. We will never, ever touch that price point. It'll always stay $10. While all these other idiots are trying to charge you $50, $30, pretending that $25 is a value, we are here giving you everything under the sun for $10, and we're never going to touch it because I'd rather have 10,000 premium members at $10 than far less at $50. WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member.